Today we'll be checking out our new plugin, that's the Magento 2 two-factor authentication plugin. Now this particular plugin allows the admin to integrate the OTP verification along with the two-factor authentication to the online store for the customer login and sign-up verification process. Apart from that, the admin can either set the authentication code verification only for the existing customers or for both existing as well as new customer registration there. The admin can also even set the time in seconds for the expiry of the authentication code, and on the other hand, the customers need to verify the OTP sent to their registered mobile numbers during the login or the sign up process itself. In today's video tutorial, I'll be showing you the workflow of the Magento 2 two-factor authentication plugin at the storefront as a customer. We'll see how it works at the time of creating an account and at the time of sign up as well, or sign in basically. But before we proceed further with the workflow, please do subscribe to our channel and press the bell icon to receive the latest updates from our end. And if you find this particular video helpful, then do kindly give it a thumbs up. So right now, first of all, we'll be creating an account and we'll see the workflow at the customer's end for that. So let's tap here on the create an account at the top, and we'll be redirected to the create new customer account section. As you can see, now here we have the default personal information section, and then here you can see that we have the sign in information that requires the email, the dialing code of the country, the phone number of the customer, his password and his confirmed password while he's going to create a new account. Now we'll just see the workflow of the two-factor authentication here. So for that, let's go ahead and let's register a customer first. So I'll just enter the name of the customer, and then we'll be entering the email of the customer there. Then I'll be choosing the dialing code as India. Then we'll be setting up the mobile phone number on which we'll be receiving the authentication code. Then we'll set up the password for our store account, and then we'll be tapping here on the create an account button to create a new account there. So let me keep it handy, and let's tap here on the create an account button. Now you'll see that we'll receive a two-factor authentication there. So we need to enter the authentication code that we received on our mobile device. So let me go ahead and let me check that out, and then we'll be entering that up here within this particular section. So I've received the code and I'll be entering the code there, 694228, and then I'll be tapping here on the save button. Now you'll see that the account has been successfully verified, and now we are logged in and we can access our account panel options. So this was how the two-factor authentication works at the time of account creation. Now let's see how it works at the time of login. So for that, I'll just log out of this particular customer account, and then I'll be tapping here on the sign in button in the header. That brings up the customer sign in screen. So I'll be entering the email address, and then I'll be entering my password for the store, and then I'll be tapping here on the sign in button. Now this would bring up authentication code verification pop-up, as you can see. So now we need to enter another code here that we received on our registered mobile device. So I'll just go ahead and I'll enter that up here within the enter the auth code here, 939129, and then we'll be tapping on the submit button. Now here you can see that the authentication code will expire in 120 seconds, and if you have not received the authentication within the time, you can use the resend authentication code link here as well to receive a new authentication code that can then be put here. Now let's tap here on the submit button, and you can see that we have successfully verified our account and we have logged into our account panel. So this was the customer's workflow, and I hope it helped you out in understanding the flow of the Magento 2 two-factor authentication plugin. Now, one more thing is that the telephone number that a customer uses uh, here within this particular section for the phone number. So for that, the customer should have to create an account at the Twilio itself, and he'll have to save his number there. So he has to go to Twilio, create a new project, then go to the phone numbers. On the phone numbers page, I'll just show you where he needs to navigate. He needs to go to the verified caller IDs, and here he needs to enter his mobile number on which he'll be getting the SMSs there, or the authentication code that he'll be getting there. Now let's go back. So this was the workflow of this particular plugin, that's the Magento 2 two-factor authentication plugin. Now let's hop on to the admin backend panel and let's see what different initial configuration settings are there for this particular plugin. So for that, I'll be logging into the admin backend panel by entering my username, password, and tapping on the sign in button thereafter. So okay, I'll have to log in once again. After successful login, the admin needs to navigate to stores, configuration. Now the admin also needs to have his Twilio account. He needs to create a new project, add a mobile phone number within that, and after that he'll be able to get the things. I'll just show you. So the admin needs to log into his Twilio account, create a new account, add a mobile phone number to that, and then he'll get the account ID and the authentication token that needs to be used in the configuration setting of this particular plugin. So here on the configuration page under the Webkul block, we have the two-factor authentication option, and under that we have two different sections. One is the two-factor authentication and the Twilio authentication. Now under the Twilio authentication, you need to enter the authentication ID and the token that you would have received after registering, creating a project, adding a mobile number, and then going to your dashboard. You will find your project info. That's the account SID and the authentication token, and here you can find your mobile phone number as well that you would have added, and this is then needed to be entered here, the authentication token, the authentication ID. Then you can set up the message that would be used within the text message to send the authentication token, and the sender number here. So this will be your sender number that you have to use within this particular section. Now coming to the two-factor authentication option, here you can enable this particular module functionality at the storefront by choosing a yes option. Otherwise you can disable the feature by choosing a no. Then we have the need authentication code validation on new customer registration. So if you want the code validation on the new customer registration, then you can choose this option as a yes, and then you can set the authentication code expiry time in seconds. You can set the expiry time in seconds between the range that is 60 to 300 seconds. Otherwise else it would automatically take 60 seconds would be taken and set up. And for the need authentication code validation on the new customer registration, you can choose this option as a no, and then the authentication code validation for the new customer registration won't work there. So you can choose this as a yes, and then you can save your authentication code expiry and then tap here on the save configuration button, and doing so would basically configure the particular initial configuration settings for the Magento 2 two-factor authentication plugin itself. So yes, that was much about the plugin itself, and I hope it helped you out in understanding the flow of the same. If you still have any questions, queries, suggestions, or requirements, then kindly do reach back to us and support@webkul.com, or you can raise a ticket at webkul.ubidis.com. Apart from that, if you find this particular video helpful, then kindly do give it a thumbs up. And lastly, thanks for watching this particular video and have a great day ahead.